Welcome to a new edition of Let's Talk. Today, where's my ball? Where's my ball? Today's episode is Where's My Ball? No. There it is. So, today's episode is this week and next week are two things I like to say that usually people don't understand. They usually think I'm joking, or they assume that I might be right and they don't like it. So today's episode is government is just a business. I will explain and you'll come on this journey with me. Now, I say this because we look at business as what? A person or persons who generate a good or services, either be publicly owned or privately owned. Well, if you look at some governments being privately owned, dictatorships, or publicly owned, like the one we have. But if you look at this bartering system, this trading system has gone on forever, since the dawn of man. We realized back then, hunters, gatherers, everybody had a job, and they did their job. The hunters would hunt, they would prepare the food, the gatherers would gather like berries and stuff for the fire and stuff for the homes, and then you'd have people who would make clothing out of the hide of the kill, and everybody would have something, and they would give to one another for something back, trading for something for something. So we had the trade system back then. We had goods for goods. We didn't have services for goods or goods for services yet. The Egyptians, they changed. It's progressed. The Egyptians traded by weight. We still use that to this day. The Egyptians were also buried with their gold. Like, that meant a lot to them, and it means a lot to a lot of societies. It means a lot to business. The more wealth, the more prosperous. The more money you're making, the better business you have. Well, if you look at the economy, it's the same way with countries. The more wealthy countries are the better off countries. Going back to the weight, we still use that. We still use that in meat. We weigh our meat. We still measure it in food. And then Christopher Columbus, during that time, spices were huge. Spices were worth more than gold because they would preserve the meat for longer and spice things up. Everything wasn't dull. So Christopher Columbus said, I can get to Asia faster than everybody else can and cut costs. That's the whole thing. People misconstrued a couple of things about Christopher Columbus. One, he was a terrible person. But the one main thing was that we were taught he was trying to prove that the world wasn't flat, but that wasn't the case. Everybody knew back then the world wasn't flat. There was round maps back then. Like, it had already been proven. He wanted to prove that he can cut expenses by getting a faster route to Asia. And he even landed in America. He landed on the islands. And he thought he was in Asia. But that's not the point. I'm getting off track. All countries do it. They do it to this day. And that's how I look at it. That's why Trump was the better pick over Hillary for me, because he was the business guy. He knows how to run business. And if you look back in history, you can pinpoint our economy when it booms to people who have a better business sense. But that's the point, is the government provides us a service. We provide them taxes, money. It's really simple to me to put the two together. You can look at the uh, United States as a publicly owned business. We all own shares in the United States. We all have say. Um, the CEO is the president of the United States. Um, the judicial branch is the lawyers of the United States, and the Congress. And Congress is essentially the chair members. So when the business is running good and everything's good, the CEO is praised. The president gets praised. We base around all of this. We've done this for years. Basis economy comes first. How much money are we making? How many people are employed? How much debt do we owe? But you can't blame people. It's always been that way. The Egyptians, again, were buried with their gold. The more jewels and gold you had, the more power you had. It is not. And then you got people saying that, well, that means, evil. Money's evil. Money's not evil. Money's neutral. Whatever you do with that money, whatever drives you to get that money, how you go about getting that money is what is evil or not. This is turning out to be a shorter video than I thought. I guess this was easier to explain my way than I anticipated. I just see it that way. And I don't see why that's a bad thing. Businesses bring in jobs. Businesses bring in revenue, bring in money, bring in competition, and that's what this country is about. It's about bringing people in and bettering your lives. So I don't understand why that's a bad thing, because people look at businesses as being some evil entity, which makes sense because those same people look at the government as being an evil entity, but it's not. Both are run by people. It's just that what you decide to do with that power is what makes it evil or not. I only did that because some people don't believe in good and bad, but I do. So that is it. Wow, that is really shorter than I thought. So my take is the government is business, and we elect a new CEO, which makes sense because a bunch of business will probably go through a CEO if they retire. Some are voted off. So, yes, that is mine. We can have a discussion in the comment section below. With that being said, much love, JD.